Reach plc is one of the UK's largest commercial news publishers. We have over 120 titles across the UK and also in the US. Titles such as The Express and Mirror will probably be more familiar. As head of technology procurement, I'm responsible for managing strategic procurement across the organisation, focusing on tech and digital, so everything from software through to professional services. We have nearly 3,000 suppliers across the business, which for our size of businesses is quite unique. It is a responsibility of procurement to make sure that we manage that, not just from a cost reduction, cost optimisation perspective, but obviously having a high number of suppliers to manage presents quite a high risk profile for us. So when I joined Reach just over 3 years ago, it wasn't particularly clear in terms of how you actually engage with procurement, how you buy software, how you buy goods or services. Teams were still using spreadsheets and emails to communicate when it came to approvals. Cybersecurity, we're using a separate tool. That meant that our stakeholders became quite frustrated because it's not clear to them where their request was in the chain. That was leading the procurement function to be a chaser in that process, having to find the information, having to update stakeholders. There was no automation or orchestration around that process at all. It was quite difficult to get an easy view of all of our supplier data. There was no easy way to gather supplier information up front. It's not as simple as having a sort of one-size-fits-all for assessing suppliers. So during our sourcing process, we worked very closely with our cybersecurity function, data privacy and legal to understand their needs from an approval perspective. We also gathered feedback from our stakeholders and our users to understand what was working well with the procurement process, what was not. I think for us, where Omnea really stood out when comparing to other tools and other systems that we were already using, they either tend to do procurement really well or risk really well. Omnea was able to deliver both. It enables you to manage not only the intake process, but also really embed risk into every step of the approval. That led us to choosing Omnea as the tool of choice. There's been quite a significant reduction in our supplier long tail. So we've probably reduced our long tail around 15%. And recently we looked at our maverick spend, meaning spend that has gone outside of the procurement process, and that has been significantly reduced. So it had originally been sitting around the 30% mark, and that's gone down to around 5%. So majority of our spend is now under procurement management. We are safer because we're managing risk appropriately to the risk profile, and we're not relying on just human input and human effort to identify risk. And that has meant that overall our risk exposure has definitely been reduced. Procurement is definitely shifting away from just being that sort of traditional operational partner to being more of a strategic function, managing not only cost reduction but risk reduction.